The Arc Raiders team just responded to several questions, such as the shotgun exploit and when we can see it patched. They also discussed game crashes that have been popping up for players who have an AMD graphics card. And the devs gave us a close look at what the game looked like before it launched, and we might have something interesting there to talk about. Plus, we're going to talk about so much more. If you can do me a favor, make sure to tap the thumbs up button right away and the hype button below. With that said, let's jump in. Alrighty Raiders, we're going to check out a new post that was created yesterday by the Arc Raiders official account. In that post, the developers at Embark Studios talk about how they're going to release a documentary with 3 episodes in total. The first episode will mainly cover the design, gameplay mechanics, and Arc enemies, which by the way, this episode is already out right now. Anyway, episode 2 dives into how they ended up leaning more towards PvPvE instead of PvE, including talks about immersive worlds, realistic sound designs, and the gameplay loop. The final episode is where the devs discuss how they created the Arc machines, and the very first episode, like I just mentioned, is out now. And I'm super excited about this whole entire thing. Nevertheless, what I thought was interesting is what they showed in that post. They started it off by showing concept art. Right after that, they showed us what the game used to look like before it launched. This type of stuff I think is so awesome, guys, and it's fun to see the behind the scenes stuff. Anyway, about 20 seconds in, there's a clip of a medium-sized Arc sprinting towards the left. That thing almost looks like a queen, like with a head, almost, possibly a bastion, but with like longer legs, and it's kind of awesome. I do wonder if we'll see an Arc like that, you know, that looks similar to that. Also, speaking of the Arcs, they showed an early design of what I'm assuming is the queen, or maybe not, I don't know. It sort of looks like a massive leaper, and I only say that based on the red eye in the center, which you'll see here. So again, I thought that was interesting for them to show us, and towards the very end, they cut off the video by showing this massive Arc in the distance. I believe it's the same one that I just showed you a few seconds ago. Deep down, I want to believe we're going to see more Arc bosses and enemies to fight, and I think this game has a ton of potential, and I'm super excited for it. Also, I'm not sure if you caught it, but they had a chat option on the right side, and if I'm not wrong, there's no chat option currently, right? If so, that's something I think would have been neat to see in Arc Raiders. But besides me droning on about it, what are your thoughts on everything we've discussed here? Do you think that's going to be a new boss we'll see? What are your thoughts on everything in general? Drop a response below and I'll check out what you have to say. So before we go over the Embark Studios team members' response about all the issues and some of the things going on, we're going to check out this right here, and we're going to see what Spaceport looked like before Arc Raiders launched. So in this first image, this was during their developer video interview, or documentary I mean, and wow, yeah, it's a little different here because we could tell that in the second image, this sand is not really there. There's like now like some cement, and the vehicle on the left side has changed as well. In the next image, we can see what a Hornet used to look like. In the second image, you all know what it looks like currently. This is what it looks like. I will say I kind of like the first image, right? The design of what it used to look like. Nevertheless, we've got the next image here, and this is going to be Spaceport right in the front where the Spaceport tower is. And before, it was all rusty. The cement was not too pretty, I would say. It now obviously looks a little bit better, if not a lot better, with the like paint on the red and all that. But the tower, most importantly, looks amazing. It looks way better than the Rust version, but yeah, I thought this was really cool and want to know what you think about it. Okay, with that conversation aside for another day, we've got news about the shotgun trick that players have been using to gain an advantage topside. If you're a returning viewer, then you know we've discussed it a little bit recently in a different video, and we've got some more news about it. As you know, we received a new update, patch 1.3.0, and the patch notes, there was no word about the shotgun exploit and whether it was patched or not. I decided to dig a little deeper to see if I could find any word on it, and the response was pretty straightforward. A player asked if there's any word about the double pump bug. The community manager Birdie wrote that they're looking into it and asked for a little bit of patience. A different community manager revealed there's no ETA on when they'll be able to get to it. Also, if you're not aware, players are using the same exact shotgun trick, but with the anvil instead, which, by the way, they know about that as well, because an Embark Studios member chimed in to say, "Yup," after a player asked if they knew about it. On top of this, she replied to a different player and confirmed they're working on it right now. All in all, it seems like they're trying their very best to resolve as many exploits as possible, because there are players out there abusing it quite a lot. Speaking of exploits, they confirmed that using any sort of exploit or glitch in a malicious manner will result in a ban. Well, with the exploits, it's going to be malicious, but there are some glitches out there that are funny. But nevertheless, for instance, a player brought up how after the recent patch, there are still players exploiting by pushing each other into the locked rooms. Birdie came back and responded, the Embark Studios team is actively working to resolve all the exploits, and using them is bannable. In a different reply, Birdie wrote to another player that the team still has some stuff that they're going to fix and ask for some patience. And the same exact Embark Studios member from earlier confirmed it as well, saying that the team is working on it. I think so far they've done a great job, considering they've been patching exploits with each patch. And I'm sure they'll resolve more things in the next update where players will be happy. You can say that I don't know, being optimistic about the situation, but I really think they're going to do a great job in the next patch and definitely get rid of that nasty exploit. Next up, let's go over a new game crashing issue that is actually not Embark Studios' fault at all, and I'm bringing this up to give you more clarity on what's going on, just in case you're one of the players out there that thinks it's the developer's fault. For those who don't know, there's a problem currently with the AMD driver update that's causing Arc Raiders to crash. So, Embark Studios CM Lee Renor replied to a different player here who brought up the same type of game crashing issues, and the community manager had this to say, basically thanking the person for letting them know, mentioning there's a thread about it already, as well as confirming it's being investigated and they already know about the issue. Now, a different community manager replied to another player and wrote, "Not sure if you've been informed or heard about this before, but we were informed that with the AMD issues, Embark is in contact with them. It's something on their end, and they've been looking for potential fixes. We just don't really have an ETA. If you're using an AMD graphics card and you recently updated your card or your driver to the newest update, then this player in this post here suggests that downgrading will reduce the crashes and they'll be less frequent. I know that this isn't reassuring, but it's better than nothing and it should help." Up next, let's talk about some Arc Raider merch. Is it going to happen? Well, maybe, maybe not. I would assume so, but we've got a response from the community manager, Bailey, that says, "No info as well, step by step, I guess." And this response was after this Helldiver asked if there's going to be any ETA on when, we could see Arc Raider merch. And unfortunately, there is no ETA, but again, if I had to guess, I'd say they're definitely planning something. So keep your eyes peeled. I'll try to keep you updated on this information as time goes on. Lastly, we've got one more message from the Embark Studios team, and this one is about balancing. There's a player that asked, have they ever thought about buffing underperforming weapons? And Embark's team member, Austin, replied, "Team is always investigating balancing. So perhaps maybe we'll see a patch in the future that'll buff some weapons. Hopefully, that would be the best case scenario. No more nerfs. Please, Embark Studios, let's keep it nerf free, unless it's absolutely needed." Anyway, we're going to check out a post that was created on the Arc Raiders subreddit page, and I'd like to see what you all think about this. We've got a player here who wrote that they felt the whole cracker nerf was unnecessary and posted the patch notes from earlier today. They went on to say that the whole cracker was mainly used for arc, that the crafting is ridiculous, and asked why you would need arc motion to build explosive ammo, as well as how the whole cracker damage was also nerfed. Then someone commented underneath this post saying that the nerf further exacerbates other issues and brought up how you can't stock up on materials and that making things expensive and specialized to craft makes things worse. I also saw a different post with pretty much the same amount of upvotes and the same exact topic as before, just a different raider. They didn't like the changes either, so overall the two posts here have received basically the same amount of upvotes, so surely there are other players out there who feel the same. My question for you is, do you feel the same about it? Let me know by leaving a message underneath this video. On a different note, I want to bring up something I think we should talk about, and that's the Bettina. I think we can all agree that this particular epic tier weapon needs a buff badly, and I'll explain why. If we compare the Bettina to the grade tier Kattle, they're almost similar. Almost. For example, I went over to the practice area, equipped both the purple and gray tier weapons. In this very first clip, I've got 20 rounds and fired a total of 10 rounds on one medium shielded enemy. That's with a Bettina. On the other hand, using a level 1 Kattle, I can bring down a medium shielded enemy with almost the same rounds. I started with 20 rounds and dished out 13 rounds. So comparing both of those tiers, it's crazy that a gray tier Kattle can give you almost similar results to a level Bettina. I'm not sure how many of you out there would agree with me that it needs a buff, but yet again, I think this weapon should. And I'm rooting for the day that it happens because Embark Studio listens well to the players and is doing a great job, in my opinion, with patches, content, and just keeping things fresh. Okay, let's switch things up a bit here. Instead of bugs and things that the devs are currently working on, let's talk about something fun. We have an image of what it looks like once you've filled up your entire stash box full of ducks. The developers actually coded this in, and I think it's hilarious, fun, and just overall awesome to see. I think small stuff like this is what players appreciate. Sure, it's not a free item, a buff, or cosmetics, but it's cool. I just wanted to bring this up because earlier when we went over the patch notes together, I didn't have any ducks on me to show it, plus I for sure didn't have the amount that this player does. Next up, we've got a Nicolas Cage Easter egg in Arc Raiders. It's amazing. So if you don't know, when you start up your match, right, you're trying to look for a match to enter in, you'll see this intro, right, where the guy is going to close it or the woman's going to close it. But then if you look in the middle here, there is a gauge. And what's interesting, on that gauge, it says Nicolas Gage. Yes, a Nicolas Cage reference. Amazing. I thought it was cool. If you didn't know, well, now you know. Alright, before I wrap up today's video, we have to talk about this because, man, these rats are getting crazy out here. I'm over here trying to breach a door and brother right here is trying to shoot me from behind. Good thing I was peeking and I got him good. So, yeah, I got my eyes on you guys. I know there's someone out there that's going to betray me again. And guess what? It's not going to happen. Lastly, for today's video, we have the top comments. First from Desmond2535. That brought up how the inflation on the deadline is diabolical. And yes, indeed it is, my friend. I think it's absolutely nuts. And man, I miss purchasing 3 deadlines. I mean, gosh, it was so fun. The second top comment is by this raider that pointed out that the whole cracker was nerfed because it did exactly what it's supposed to do. And maybe so. I don't know. The third and top final comment is by KYS or Kissa 1106 that says they're super happy for the duck den because it shows how tightly knit the developers are with the community. And yeah, and if you don't know, there's a whole explanation here about it and freaking awesome on the developers part. So yeah, those are the top comments. Hope you have enjoyed today's video. If you can, support the video by tapping the thumbs up, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.